Hi guys, Peter Bowman here. So I've been developing property and investing in property for a number of years now, and one of the things that seems to stand out in my results is my ability to purchase properties for quite a lot below market value. In some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars below market value. And I've been asked many times, how have I achieved those results, and what honey am I dripping in people's ear? The truth is, I'm not dripping any honey in anyone's ear. There is a system to it. It's something that anyone can learn. There's a combination of actions that you need to take as well as people skills you need to develop. But anyone can learn how to buy properties, houses, any type of real estate significantly below market value. I'm just going to touch on a few things during this with this video, and I'll probably do some future videos where we'll deep dive into some of these even more. But these tips will definitely help you buy property significantly below market value and will be well worth your time. So one of the things about buying property is, like any other business, it's a people's business. And there's no way of getting around that. There are people involved. So that means there's emotions involved. That means there's history involved. There's people's stories involved. And you need to deal with that. So first thing to accept is this isn't just a mathematical equation. There is certainly a part to this where if you just do the numbers, then, okay, yep, you're going to create the opportunity. And that is a big part. Most people simply don't do the work that is needed to earn a property far below market value. If you put in 1 or 2 or 3 offers and then you complain, oh, it doesn't work, it's not possible, well, you just haven't done the work. Robert Kiyosaki talks about, if you look at 100 properties and you still haven't found a deal, then come and talk to me. And when he says look at 100 properties, he's not talking about drive down the street and have a glance at them, or get on Zillow or realestate.com or whatever the platform is that you're looking at in your country and just having a glance at properties. That's shopping retail. We're talking about buying wholesale. So you need to get off your backside. You need to go out there and actually look at properties, talk to realtors, talk to brokers, talk to owners, most importantly, and actually get out there and do the walk. Pound the pavement. That's where the opportunities are. Most people are flying across, I talk about it as like a plane analogy. It's like they're flying at 3,000 feet, looking down, trying to spot the opportunities. Well, the opportunities lie between the cracks. You need to get so intimate with the area that you are looking to buy in that you can spot the opportunities that other people can't. Number one is activity, the numbers. You actually need to put some work into this. There's no get rich quick scheme here. Okay, so if you think you're just going to do a few actions and bang, next week you can have a property, well, that's just not realistic. So if you want to get results that other people aren't getting, you need to be willing to do things that other people are not willing to do. So first thing is know your numbers. Set yourself some goals, set yourself some targets for the level of activity that you are going to have. So that might be how many properties you're going to assess each week, how many properties you're going to go and physically view each week, how many realtors, how many brokers you're going to speak to each week, how many letters you're going to send to property owners each week so that you can speak with them directly, how many doors you're going to knock on. Whatever it is that the areas that you're going to focus on, whatever you have time to focus on, if you're still in your full-time job, you've got to work with your time constraints, okay? But set those numbers and then measure them and measure your activity against those numbers, because unless you're measuring it, there is no way of impacting it. The next thing is getting to know your numbers, understanding your success ratios. If it takes you X amount of properties or looking at X amount of properties to find a deal or to put in an offer or whatever it is, get to know those numbers. So I know what my numbers are. I know roughly every 80 offers, I'm going to find a deal. Yep, you heard me. Roughly every 80 offers, I'm going to find a deal. Now that might sound like a lot of work, but it's not when you consider the amount of discount that I'm getting. So in that case there, if I'm sitting at 20 offers or 30 offers and I'm feeling a bit down and out and thinking, geez, this doesn't work, well, then I remind myself, I know I get one every 80 offers. So basically pick myself up, stop whinging and get back to work. If I put in 100 offers and I still haven't got one, then it's a case of, all right, I've done the work. Something's got to be around the corner. It's just a way of managing your psychology. So the next tip is action breeds more action. If you want big results, take massive action. Again, there is no shortcut to this, guys. If you want to get rich, if you want to buy properties below market value, if you want to create instant equity, you need to be willing to put in the work. The bigger the action, the better the results. So whatever it is that you think is a reasonable amount, don't be reasonable about this. Be unreasonable. How much do you actually want this success? If all you're willing to do is the mediocre, then look, guys, this clip probably isn't for you. If you want exceptional results, then keep watching. Action breeds more action. Don't try and control the system. Once you get to know your numbers, once you start building those key performance indicators for yourself, have faith in the system. Keep pushing them out. Keep pushing them out with conviction. Keep taking action. If you're unsure, just take action. One of the worst things you can do is sit back and say, I'm not sure what to do next, because nothing happens. Okay? Even if you take the wrong action, you're going to get feedback from the market. You're going to get feedback from the people you're dealing with, and that's going to give you answers as to what to do next. So a body in motion stays in motion. Right? It's very hard to steer a parked car. So bottom line is get into action. If unsure, take action. If you focus on the actions, the results will take care of themselves. Next tip is a really big one, and that is let others decide for themselves. Our job is to ask the question. Our job is to create the opportunity to buy properties under market value. Now, here's the thing. Here's why most people don't buy anything under value is they're not even willing to put in an offer low enough to be considered under market value. They've got too much stuff going on in their head about what people are going to think. Oh, there's no way they're going to say yes to that. People are going to laugh at me. Whatever it is, all of that noise is not serving you. So cut it out. Bottom line is you need to be willing to actually put the price there, be vulnerable, and accept the fact that most people are going to say no to your offer. And that's perfectly okay, because we're not looking to buy most properties. We are looking to buy the gems. We are looking to buy the ones that are exceptionally under market value, which give you instant equity and give you a platform to continue growing your portfolio. Our job is not to answer for them. Ask the question, let them respond. There have been studies done that show the reason why most people don't get results is they're simply actually not willing to ask the question. That includes in sales, asking for the sale. People go through their whole sales pitch and they never actually ask for the business at the end. The statistics are something like 9 to 1. So be willing to ask, be willing to be vulnerable, and be willing to accept that the answer may be no, because you've got to turn over a few rocks before you find that yes that you're looking for. This is 2 tips in one. Number 1 is if you want to buy below market value, you want to be dealing direct with the seller. Because the fact is the broker or the realtor in between have their own interests. So it does take certain options off the table. And there are many ways where we've managed to structure purchases and deals which were much better for the seller that would never have been possible if there was a realtor in between. Because bottom line is they want to get paid and they want to get paid sooner. So get to know your seller. Get to know their circumstances, what is important to them. It's only about the price until you find something else for it to be about. And I can promise you there are many examples of things that are more important to sellers than just the price. Not for every single one, and that's one of the key things to understand is if you're talking to someone whose key driver is price and they are willing to wait for as long as it takes to get the highest possible price, they are not the seller you are looking for. Move on, find the next one. We are looking to find people that are motivated and have other reasons to sell and other things that are more important, and then we want to help them. We want to find them, and then we want to help them. If that's not the person you're talking to, move on. Contrary to popular opinion, price is not always the primary objective for the seller. Next tip is always be negotiating. Don't stop negotiating just because you've signed a contract or an agreement. There are plenty of reasons why discounts can be created after you've actually signed the initial agreement. Why might someone give you a discount after you've signed the agreement? Well, it does depend on how the agreement is structured. That's one of the most important things. But you finding issues with the property, finding structural issues with the property, new sales evidence in the area to suggest that that price is not an appropriate example of market value, feedback from builders, change in market conditions, or, this is the one I like the most, you find another way to structure the purchase that is even better for them and better for you. We've had examples where after we've actually signed the agreement to purchase the property outright, we've discovered ways that would work much better for the seller. So an example is that they actually didn't want to sell their house. They just didn't want all the land that was surrounding it. So we reworded the agreement so they got to keep the house. We actually re-landscaped their property, made it much more low maintenance for them, which was fantastic for them because they were elderly and it got beyond them. And we just purchased the land either side. It improved the investment tenfold for us, and they were much more excited about the outcome themselves. Key takeaway here is when you think you're done negotiating and you think the deal is complete, ask yourself, what could make this deal better? If you keep asking yourself that all the way through, you'll be amazed at the things you uncover. Until you ask the question, you're unlikely to find a solution. Next tip is shoot for the stars. We touched a bit on this before with the pricing when we talked about the fact that most people are actually unwilling to ask for a price that is below market value. So that's the first thing is the price, but it's not the only thing. In negotiation, you've got to have something to give away that is not so important to you. So in the first instance, ask for more than you actually need. Because if you don't, then everything left that you have to give away are things that are important to you. You want things that are unimportant to you but are of great value to them. So you can give them something that is very important to them but is not of any significant loss to you. So ask for more than what you actually need. Then you've got things to give away that don't cost you too much. Most people are very, very reasonable, I've found. And I've been doing this quite a long time and dealt with a lot of people. And if you give people a good explanation as to why it is that you need a discount and you back it up with a lot of logic and reason, most people are quite willing to go along with it. It doesn't mean they're always going to say yes, but don't forget the power of because. Studies have been done on the power of the word because, and they have shown very conclusively that it actually doesn't matter what comes after the word because when you're giving your explanation. It actually is just engaging in a conversation with a person, giving them some sort of justification, and people tend to be compelled to go along with you if you're being reasonable. So again, they're not going to say yes every time, but be willing to have the conversation and give it a go. Next tip and final tip is don't be cheap. Okay? Don't be cheap with your consultants. If you're cheap on your consultants, it's going to bite you in the backside. And I promise you, it's much more expensive than having good consultants. No one wants to go into battle with the C team. And no, I'm not saying every transaction is a battle, but some of them will turn into it. And you want to make sure that you have the best team on your side. So when things do get a little bit hairy, what could be quite a large problem becomes quite a small problem. The idea of skimping on consultants and paying them the smallest amount of finding the cheapest one just around the corner, not a lot of wisdom in that. That's going to bite you long term. And at the end of the day, do you plan on building great wealth or do you plan on being stingy? Because the two don't go hand in hand. If you want to live in a world of abundance, you've got to start in a world of abundance. Those are my 7 tips for how to buy properties cheap and how to buy them under market value. I'll probably go into each of those in much greater detail in future videos because there actually is a lot to unpack in each of those. If you'd like me to go into any greater detail into any of these points, please write a comment below and ask. And also, if there's any other topics you'd like me to cover that can help you get ahead in your property and wealth creation journey, please comment below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll keep putting out some good content to help you build your wealth.